Sugar cookies are great to look at, but unfortunately, they are not always great to eat. Today, we're going to make the best sugar cookies in the world. Sugar cookies that are not overly pungently sweet, sugar cookies that actually have some real flavor going on in that dough. Your sugar cookies are going to start with the dry ingredients, but before we can get to mixing up those dry ingredients, one little special note: you really need to be sure that your butter is at room temperature. This means that you can take your finger, poke your butter, and easily make an indentation into the stick. Add 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, not to be confused with baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of fine sea salt to a medium-sized mixing bowl and give it a really good whisk. Anytime I am creaming butter and sugar together, I always take the lazy way out and bring in a stand mixer fitted with the paddle attachment. If you don't have a stand mixer, you can just grab yourself a large bowl and a handheld mixer. You're gonna start by adding 1 cup of room temperature butter to the bowl of your stand mixer. Now I'm just gonna turn the mixer on medium-high speed, slowly add in 1 1/4 cup of granulated sugar and let that mix for about 2 minutes. Okay guys, after just a couple minutes of mixing, your butter and sugar mix should be significantly lighter in color and it should look nice and fluffy. You really don't want to skip that mixing step because it will affect the texture of your cookies, and you want these sugar cookies to be the best sugar cookies ever. I'm also gonna take a second to just scrape down the bowl, make sure that all that butter got incorporated into the sugar, and now we're gonna add the rest of the wet ingredients. Now you're gonna add in 1 large egg, 3 tablespoons of half and half, 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, and almond extract. Almond extract will take your sugar cookies from good to great. That and the salt. Should have mentioned that earlier. Salt is a big deal when it comes to sweets, and so many sugar cookie recipes are severely lacking. So between your butter being at room temperature, your almond extract, and that extra little bit of salt this recipe calls for, guaranteed, these are the best sugar cookies you and your taste testers will ever eat. We'll just turn the mixer back on medium-high speed and add in 1 teaspoon of almond extract. Now with the mixer on low, you'll slowly add in those dry ingredients. And that's the best sugar cookie dough ever. Time to chill it. To chill the dough, you're first gonna divide it in half. Grab yourself a sheet of plastic wrap. Place that plastic wrap flat on the counter. Roll the dough in a little ball. Flatten it out just a little bit and tuck it in. And you'll just repeat with the other half. We're gonna take these and we're gonna chill them for at least 1 hour or up to 2 days in the refrigerator. Once the cookie dough is properly chilled, you can roll it out. You're gonna begin with a floured work surface. Bust on into the dough, plop it right down. Now you'll just top off your dough with a little more flour, and we're gonna start rolling it out. We're gonna roll it out just like we rolled out that food processor pie crust. We're gonna start from the middle and push outward. And every time we push outward, we're gonna give it a little turn. So start from the middle, push out. And I should have told you, I let this hang out on the counter for 15 minutes before I even touched it. If your edges are cracking a little bit, don't freak out. If your edges are cracking a lot, step away from the dough and let it rest on the counter for about 5 minutes more. And if you see that the dough wants to come with you on your rolling pin, that means you need a little more flour. This is about 1/4 inch thick. It's right where I want it. Before you cut out your cookies, you wanna make sure that you have a cookie sheet lined with either a silicone baking mat or parchment paper. This is also a good time to note that puffy sleeves were a terrible idea for today's wardrobe choice. It is officially time to cut the cookies, but before we cut and bake, let me just share with you that in the next couple videos, I will be sharing my buttercream cookie frosting recipe and my royally iced painted sugar cookie recipe. Cut out your cookies and place them on a baking sheet about 1 to 2 inches apart. You can rework and roll out the dough up to 2 or 3 more times, but you'll find that as the dough gets warmer, those cookies don't come with the cutters quite like they did at the beginning. So you may find that you have to peel the dough away from the cookie shapes rather than picking up those cookies and plopping them right on the mat. Now you're gonna bake your cookies at 350 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes, just until you see those edges start to tinge with a nice little golden brown hue. So this is the sugar cookie base. And y'all, you can totally stop here if you want. As I said earlier, these are the most delicious sugar cookies ever. Be sure to come back and check out that buttercream cookie frosting recipe and the royally iced painted sugar cookies. Both of those recipes are coming up next at the Anthony Kitchens YouTube channel.